So let's do that last remaining one. I got a little bit more space here. Again, there's two radicals. So the strategy is we'll isolate one, get rid of it, and then we'll have to isolate the other and get rid of that. So it's basically the same strategy twice over. When we try to figure out which one to isolate, there's basically a lot going on each. So either choice is a pretty tough one. But how about, since I'm subtracting there, we usually know addition's a lot nicer. So how about I go ahead and add that radical to both sides. So that's going to give us the new equation, 2 times the radical x plus 1 equals the radical 2x plus 3 plus 1. Okay, so again, to isolate this radical, I could divide by 2, but if I start dividing by 2 over here, I'm going to introduce a fraction, and we don't want to make this any harder than it is. So I'm going to leave it as it is. Because it's a product, when I square it, I can take advantage of my power of a product rule. As opposed to over here, we're taking the power of a sum. And so on this side, we're going to have to FOIL. And on this side, 2 squared is going to give us 4. And then if I square a square root, right, the square root goes away. So I'm squaring each piece. So 2 squared and that squared. So over here, we just do a distribution. Over here, we do a FOIL. So we got this times this. So that's 2x plus 3 squared. When I do my outer, I get a square root of 2x plus 3. When I do my inner, I get another square root of 2x plus 3. And my last times my last is 1. So we have 4x plus 4 on this side. The radical clears out right here. These are like terms, so we have 2 of them. And plus 1. So one more step. 3 and 1 gives us plus 4. So that is where we're at. So we now need to isolate that radical. So I can accomplish that by subtracting 2x and subtracting 4 from both sides. What I end up with is 2x equals 2, the square root of 2x plus 3. And now I'm going to go ahead and divide, 2, because when I do that division, things clear out real nice. Okay? So there you go. So first round of just isolating that one radical, all that crazy math, all right, making sure we track things and don't make any silly mistakes. So we're rewarded by having another radical. So I'll square both sides to get rid of it. That gives me x squared on this side, and over here it clears the radical. So because of that x squared, I can see that this is a quadratic or a polynomial equation. So I'll set one side equal to 0, and we end up with x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So we solve this by factoring. So I believe that's the correct factorization. Zero factor property says one of these is equal to 0, and we got it. So x equals 3 is a solution, x equals -1 is another. So again, what we have to do, we got these solutions, but do they actually work? And so when I come up here, if I put a 3 in here, 3 plus 1 is 4, so we have 2 times the square root of 4, minus, if I put a 3 in here, 2 times 3 is 6, so we end up with the square root of 9. So is this going to be a true statement? Well, the square root of 4 is 2, so we have basically 4 there, right? Because this is 2 times 2, minus 3 equals 1, and that's true. So 3 checked out. If I put a -1 in here, a -1 plus 1 is 0, so we have 2 times the square root of 0, minus, if I put a -1 in here, I get -2 plus 3, I get the square root of 1. And that's 0 minus 1, excuse me, -1 equals 1. Well, that's not true. So that solution's actually extraneous. So after all that work, all right, and checking things out, it looks like 3 is the only value of x that makes that equation true. So again, a lot of things going on here. Make sure you practice. A lot of good review of a lot of previous ideas. So it's a very, very good section where we're making use of just about everything we've ever learned. Chapter 4 concepts, the radical concepts, adding and subtracting, solving equations, factoring polynomials, zero factor property, evaluation. It's all there. So if you need help, please reach for it. Post your ideas on Canvas so you can get some practice at showing your work, or request a Google Meet and we can do some work online. Just talk to you guys later.